Listen, I don't know how it got leaked, which forced her to move forward on that.
Safe to assume the Republicans did leak it.
Well, I don't know where. I don't know how the memo moved around.
Right.
So I just can't speak on that. I do believe, however, that we have to all take a step back and be respectful of Professor Ford. This is not only, if it is true, a sexual assault, it is a childhood sexual assault. And if you have never been the victim of a childhood sexual assault, everybody needs to calm down and take a step back. Stop asking why she didn't say anything. I was victim of a childhood sexual assault, right? Not news. I wrote it in my book 4 years ago. First time I told somebody was 17 years later. A stranger. Next time I told somebody was 2 years after that. Next time I told somebody was 8 years after that. It was 37 years before I told everybody in the world in a book. You can't, I understand how if this happened to her, she could remember everything in that room and not the day. I don't remember the day. I know it was in my home, so that's the only way I know where it is. I don't remember the day. I don't remember who else was in my family must have been there because it's our home. But when we start asking these ridiculous questions about why didn't she say something, she became a professional and adult. I was a columnist at the New York Times and nobody knew a thing. Didn't say a word. For us, it is a living thing that lives in our bodies, right? That you wrestle with it all the time. I can't say that I thought about it every day, but I thought about it all the time. It was a living memory. It didn't move in my brain like other memories do to the back where it starts to fade. You're thinking about it all the time, so all of that minutia, he stood there, they turned the music, all of that is alive in you.
So let me ask you something.
So when people start saying, we gave her a week, that's a crazy thing to say to someone who has just now, at her age, decided that she is compelled to say this out loud, to say, oh, I gave you a week, and if you don't come forward in a week, then you have nothing to say, and you are invalid.
Well, also,
it is incredible.
She also did it with a little bit of a prophylactic on it, right? She came out anonymously initially, so it wasn't like she was looking to go long and strong right out of the box about this. But let me ask you something, and tell me if it's too sensitive. If you were asked to prove that it happened, because that's what's going to happen.
There's no way I could. There's no way I could. There's nobody else in the room. In at least in her case, there's somebody else in the room, so she says. There's nobody in the room.
Somebody else who said this never happened.
That's beside the point. I'm just telling what she's saying. But I can't give you a witness. I can't give you any evidence. I can't say that I, as a child, went to an adult or to authorities and said something. I didn't. It is traumatic. It is you're constantly trying to figure out, as you said in the break, did I do something wrong? Is somehow this my fault? Why was I there? Could I have done something in the middle of it to make it stop? How is it that this person is living their life, has never apologized to me? What would I say to that person if I saw them in person again? I haven't seen this person in 30-something years. Is this her first time ever going to be in the room with this man if, in fact, he did what he said he did? I just find that all of our discussions around this are all about politics and all about, whether or not, people are making the right moves, and none of it is about whether or not, in fact, this was a childhood sexual abuse, and this woman is her first time talking about this, and are we being reasonable to a person who is talking about that for the first time?
So what do you do?
So what does fairness require? It was a compelling statement. It was an eloquent statement. And coming from you, African-American male, making that statement, I think is really important. But how do we determine the fairness of it? I believe she should testify. I think she should testify under protest. I think she should point out all the different reasons why this is an unfair process and then basically tell her story. But I'm not sure how we reach fairness after she speaks and he speaks.
Well, I believe a couple of things have to happen. First of all, if I find a tremendous amount of kinship with her as a survivor of that. And so the idea that she invites the FBI into her life to investigate is a huge thing. I'm not sure that I would have the courage to do that. So I think that we should oblige that. And they can do things that the Senate cannot. The Senate can demand that people come testify, but the FBI has field agents. They can go and see, does the House exist, right? Who does it belong to now? Who did it belong to then?
know
Well,
what she
well, let me
has
just
to
finish.
knows.
Let me just finish. Who else did she say was there? Can we find those people? Just get them on the record, talk to the FBI, because at least at that point, if you tell me a lie, it's a
Right.
crime, right? So at least you can do some just kind of fundamental
Right.
stuff. And also, I think it's important to have experts in the room, in addition to just her and him, who can talk about how survivors of childhood sexual abuse process it. Because in the absence of that, you're going to get a political theater in which people are going to say, why didn't you? How is it possible? You're a professor. You study things like this. How could you not? Why did you never? Because none of them could ever be in her shoes.